are you a Filipino-American or an American Filipino? And I was like, this is crazy that we're having this kind of conversation. Like, I get it now, but I'm just like, we're thinking too much about it. And I think I would really like to just call myself by my name. Like, I'm Deirdre.
So one question that we wanted to touch on, because we spoke about it briefly at the Kamayan, was your biracial experience. How was that for you growing up? Did you feel comfortable in the Filipino setting more, your Jewish community? Like, what was that like for you growing up?
Well, my parents have different religions and they never changed their own religion. They just kept their own religion. So that was a little complicated because I was raised Catholic, and in the Catholic and Jewish religion, whatever your mom is, you are. So naturally I was baptized, confirmed, had my first communion. And it was very interesting because I never really felt like I was in touch with my Jewish community until maybe college, but I've always felt more closer to the Filipino community because my mom would take me to the church, and then there would be lots of Filipino parties in Flushing. And it's been an interesting experience because I've just gotten to know a lot of different people and a lot of different circumstances when it comes to interacting with lots of different people. And I think we've said that being Filipino is not a monolith because there's so many different parts of us. We're not all the same. We have different interests. We're just different people. And I've learned how to really connect with the different parts of our culture.
I love that. Can you share something positive about being biracial?
I think it allows me to be, I'd say I hope that I am open-minded. I would say that I am myself, but I'm always learning new things because there are certain things that I don't know. And sometimes like I can get chastised for it, but I'm really not trying to have any malintent. I just I'm very inquisitive and I want to get to know more. I think that's only natural. But with being biracial, having two different perspectives, I think it's allowed me to really connect with different communities, not really feel like I just belong to the Filipino community. I'm Filipino, but I also have family in Israel. I'm a New Yorker. I live in Brooklyn. I grew up in Queens. There are just so many parts about me that I'm not just a Filipino American. I'm just other. There's so many different aspects of me, and I really do appreciate that kind of aspect of being biracial.
Was it always like that for you? Like since you were a little girl, you always felt that way?
I think I was confused because I wasn't sure like where I really felt connected, but I also think that is how I bonded with the other co-founders of Project Barkada because Lugao, Joey, and I were all actually half Filipino. So it was a coincidence. I really didn't expect that, but I think it helps us to see the culture a little bit differently. And I know that I've been seeing lots of things on social media about fil-ams or Filipinos or American born. There's just so many different things, but in the end, we can all learn from each other and learn how we can accept each other and teach each other things that we need to learn.
Now, with the terminology you just mentioned, what is your preference? Half, mixed, biracial? I know everybody have different arguments of what should be the proper way, but what do you feel is more appropriate for yourself?
So in college, I remember I was part of FIND, which is the Filipino Intercollegiate Networking Dialogue.
Wow.
I think I said that right. I'm not sure.
I met my wife in there. So.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, well, I kind of knew it, but long story. Okay, go ahead.
But I remember someone was saying, like, are you a Filipino-American or an American Filipino? And I was like, this is crazy that we're having this kind of conversation. Like, I get it now. But I'm just like, we're thinking too much about it. And I think I would really like to just call myself by my name. Like, I'm Deirdre. And yes, I'm biracial. Yes, I'm mixed. Like, I can be all of those things. But in the end, like, we all have our individual stories. And I don't like to go, or I don't want to just be defined by my background. I want to be defined by who I am, because I did say, like, I'm all of these things.
I think it's also when you're adapting a culture that you care. I think that's what matters at the end of the day. And obviously you have love for the Filipino. And then I think that's what matters at the end of the day, that you care. And that's the strongest part of it.
Yeah.
You know?
Real quick, you said they asked you if you were Filipino-American or American-Filipino.
That question is loaded as hell.
I know. I just, because I'm learning and I have no idea. Like, what? And you said you had a better understanding. So please enlighten me, because I'm like, I don't know. I'm not familiar.
Is that a colorism thing? Is that a loyalty thing? How did you feel about that?
Blood thing? I don't know.
Well, I guess this was a question that I stumbled into with my other, because our club was called Liga Filipina, but with my other Liga Filipina members. And in the end, when we had our club, we just wanted to hang out and do programming and just have fun. We didn't really think too hard about I guess we didn't really dissect our culture, because we just really wanted to connect. And when we were at another school, and this was the question that was being posed to everyone in the audience, we just looked at each other and we're like, is this really happening? This is like ridiculous that we're really thinking about this. But as an adult, I guess I understand now. I mean, I think who we are, it's important to really understand our background in order to understand ourselves.
Yeah.
But sometimes I think maybe I'm wrong when I say this, but sometimes I think that we overthink things, and I think it's okay to live in the moment and embrace who you are. But as an adult now, I'm really appreciating all the things I'm learning about our culture, and how there are so many different islands, so many different cultures within the Filipino culture.
I appreciate that too. I think I find it difficult when, so for instance, for someone like me that's unfamiliar with something like that, being shamed or, like you said, chastised earlier, I think that's where I have a hard time, just because I might not understand. So I feel like you should be open to explaining and not shaming someone, because then that's where I feel identity crisis starts happening. And then people start to not feel enough with who they are because of that reason. Like, just, feeling like they need to be or do something or be a part, I don't know.
No, I totally agree with you, because I think, and I've experienced this as well, when in the Filipino community, I think sometimes we might think that we know everything, and I think I've been stubborn at times, and we have to know to give grace to each other, even ourselves, because we're always learning. And like Michelle Obama's book, Becoming, we're always becoming different versions of ourselves. Yeah. So we really have to be more open-minded as a community, because I've learned those hard lessons where I've been chastised because I made that mistake. But I've also learned that you are going to find your people within the community, and not, even if you try to connect with everyone, there's going to be issues, but you need to find your own community within the Filipino community and your people, which is okay.
Yeah. I guess that's the point too. Like, it's okay to find your people. I think when you're trying to find your people and you meet like the ones that chastise, I think it's hard, because it discourages you from continuing that, wanting to find that community, from what I've seen.
But it's also a learning opportunity for them too, because in the end, like, I mean, I can't predict their own future, but there's going to be circumstances where our own beliefs are going to be challenged. But that's why, like, I love how you both are so persistent with the work that you're doing, because you're finding your people in order to make things happen, like you found each other.